I saw a news story this week that borders on parody. Unfortunately, this is reality, and reality has apparently done its best attempt to eclipse any and all parody, which is why comedy is so hard these days. There is a man in Iowa who from what I was able to read, and I will link the article down in the description. But from what I've been able to read, ever since he was 18, he's either been in jail or been committing crimes since 18 and was recently put in like 3, 4 years ago. And his crime was that he sexually assaulted, I believe it was a person that went to the same college he was at, but I believe he also either confessed or was found to have uh, sexually assaulted a lot of minors as well. Well, this person who I believe should be in jail for a very, very long time is getting out. And he's getting out because he is now a she. I'm not even joking. He's getting. I hate to say it like this, but this is what it is: a get out of jail free card because he's transgender. The exact explanation used for why is because, oh well, he's on estrogen now, and that has lowered his sexual drive. Okay, and why is this person getting out of prison because he just can't get it up anymore? Well, I strangled someone to death, but my hands have been cut off. All right, you're free to go. It this doesn't make sense. It really doesn't. Oh, but don't worry, we're going to be watching him very, very closely to make sure that he never commits a crime again. This probation shit, I really hate the idea of probation in general. That you committed this very bad crime, but we're going to let you off. But if you commit a crime again, then we're going to jail you. Yes, mommy. Okay. So you're being treated like every other citizen who, if they commit a crime, they go to jail. For some reason, you got a pass on the first time, and they're giving you a second shot with it. I really, really don't like probation on principle, but I digress. We're seeing this more and more, and this is just the most blatant and terrible example of it, where people who are transgender, usually male to female, not always, usually seem to get some sort of a pass, or they this is a shield in a lot of cases. I remember when conservatives were saying that this was going to happen, and Democrats were saying, "Oh, that's just a slippery slope fallacy. You're making this up. You're being paranoid, etc." Unfortunately, and I hate to side with the conservatives here, but it does look like a lot of people are doing this, and that seems to be the unfortunate human nature. People will use any excuse they can to get out of being punished for doing something bad. And this seems to be the thing right now that people have realized they can do, where they will get away or be able to use an excuse for why they don't get punished. And I think that it stems from the idea, the not completely wrong idea, that in the past transgender people have been mistreated. So what they're doing now is they're overcompensating by trying to treat them more fair to make up for the fact that they were wronged in the past. To some extent, I get that idea, but society, or those in charge, have just gone way overboard now. I'm not saying now with this case, I'm just saying now as in the last couple of years. Look at any sporting event. Back in the 90s and 2000s, The running gag was some Eastern European country, pick your favorite, would dress up one of the male athletes as a woman and compete in the female games to try and get more gold medals in that. And that's why the P testing exists, to basically test, wait a second, you're a man. Now transgender athletes compete in women's events all the times and are obliterating records. It's not just like, oh well, they're setting slightly new higher records. No, they are eclipsing old records like nobody's business. They are shattering them to degrees that I don't think any natural born woman would ever be able to reach those levels. And this happens all the time. We've been seeing this the last 2 or 3 years, event after event after event. Any event that has a transgender woman in it, they are just destroying the competition. And now, if you say anything about that, you're transphobic. Uh, my view on transgender people is you do you. Whatever you want to do, I'm fine with that, as long as it doesn't interfere with me. Cool, whatever. When you are in a competition with other people and being born male and then transitioning female still gives you physical advantages, that's kind of where I'm like, you really shouldn't, or there should be rules against that, because that's why we gate off physical competitions between men and women. And yes, there are some competitions where women are physically better at. Gymnastics, for example, women have better bodies for gymnastics than men do. That's just a fact. But my point is, unless you plan on just reintegrating men and women back into sporting events, transgender people, men to women specifically, because you never hear about these stories about women who became men, they should not be in the same competition as natural born women, because that will create these issues. My point being that the whole athletics thing, we're going to see a lot of this in the 2020 Olympics. I can guarantee that. That's a thing that's been used, that has been, oh well, you can't say anything bad because they're transgender. That's been effectively them being transgender as a shield. And this thing, I absolutely see this happening here. This person's going to be let out of jail, and if you say anything, it's because you're a transphobe. And we're going to see more and more cases like this because this guy was let out. Now that he's a woman, other people are going to do this. Which, by the way, he's now a woman on the taxpayer dollar. That's just an extra insult. If I was in the state of Iowa, I'd be complaining about that more than anything else. I I question also how the medicine and the surgeries or whatever practices were done for the transitioning is part of prison treatment. I question how that happens, but that's another topic for another time. My point being, this is unfortunately human nature. They will use any sort of thing they have as a shield, as a cover, what have you. They don't need any assistance from this, which unfortunately seems to be what's happening right now. We aren't even allowed to discuss this lest we be deemed as some sort of right-wing bigot. And I again, I don't give a shit if you are transgender. Cool, good on you. Just don't bug me. I don't care if you're a man, a woman, something in between, all things at once. I don't care who you are, what you are. I don't care if you're heterosexual, bisexual, lesbian, gay. Cool, great. Don't bug me. Just stay in your space. I'll stay in mine. Okay? And I think that the majority of society is like that. It's when we're noticing things like this, where people are getting special treatment because they are X or Y, that's where we have the issue. And the act of pointing that out now is deemed as some sort of offense. And that needs to stop. It really does, because things are just going to get worse and worse. This is only like the last 3-4 years that we've seen shit like this happen. Imagine if this is allowed to continue completely, nothing happening, completely unregulated, completely just going as is for another 5-10 years. Holy shit. We are going to see murderers, serial killers, just the worst of the worst, say they're a woman, have absolutely nothing done, say they're a woman, and they will get out of jail. That's not slippery slope fallacy. That is what's happening right here. If this isn't stopped, it's just going to continue. That's how society works. We do one big thing and then slowly inch further and further and further along. That's just, again, human nature. That's how we work. I really do question what the judge in this case was thinking. I hope this is reversed, and I hope that this doesn't set a precedent for the future. But unfortunately, I think that we are going to be seeing more cases like this for a while, and I really hope that we can just, the left and the right can actually come together and say, no, you can't use you being transgender as a shield. That is not a protection. You are still going to be there because you did X. Okay? Okay. I'd like to believe that, but I've been proven wrong before. This has been Math Machine, being a horrible transphobic bigot by saying that transgender people are just people too. What a monster I am. Peace out.